Hello, everyone. It's Corrina, and thank you so much for joining me for this live chat. Looks like I'm a little bright here. Let me just bring it down a tad. So I just want to start by telling all of you that it is a scary time, but there is a lot that we can do to help this scary time move by us more quickly. So I want to talk about health in general, your other questions. I anticipate there will be lots of questions about the coronavirus, although that is not my theme for this live chat. I'm really just open to kind of seeing where your questions take us. And hopefully this is also just a nice opportunity for us to all come together, be together, and feel a little bit more connected in these times where a lot of us are feeling very isolated and alone. So hello to everyone. Thank you all for being here. I really, really appreciate you guys coming. And I do think I'm going to start doing these live chats on a more regular basis. Just to give y'all a brief update on the PsycheTruth goings-ons, we have completely cleared our calendar. Typically, I am filming videos every day of the week. But we've completely cleared our calendar, which frees me up to do more live chats. We also have closed down our offices. So we have a couple of staff still working from home, but largely we have disbanded and we are all trying to isolate and stay in our homes. Hopefully keeping our video production up as much as we can. Luckily, we have a lot of videos previously that we've already filmed, so we should have lots of videos still coming out for you guys in the coming weeks. All right, lots of people coming in here now. Those of you in the chat room, if you can start your question with some question marks, it just helps the questions kind of stand out to me here as I'm looking through all of these comments. So lots of hellos. Somebody in New York, hello in New York. I know that y'all are being hit really hard right now, so know that I'm sending my heart out to you. Okay, so at the very beginning, Connie Crab asked, can you get the coronavirus twice? Now, I am not an expert on coronavirus, but I have been trying to stay up to date. I have heard of instances where people recover from the coronavirus and then 1 to 3 weeks later can actually start presenting symptoms again. So I am going to just give you a short answer, which is I believe the answer is yes. It is not like with chickenpox where you get it one time and then you can never get it again. Part of this is due to the fact that the virus has different mutations. It appears that there are 2 different strains of the virus that they've identified right now. And viruses are constantly changing. That's how they survive. That's why they're so dangerous. So I think we should all consider ourselves as potential carriers for this virus. And if we all kind of take an extra measure of precaution, then that's going to really help us nip this in the bud as quickly as possible and hopefully reduce the number of people who are affected. So like I said, I'm not an expert on this, but I will just say that yes, it does appear that you can get the virus twice. We all just need to be super, super vigilant about kind of treating ourselves like potential carriers and doing our best to not interact with people, stay away from people who are at high risk, like people with medical conditions, the elderly, even though they're typically saying that younger people will probably pass this virus and not be a big deal. If you gave it to 5 or 10 or 15 people, and any of them were not in the same health situation as you, then that is the kind of situation that could propagate this into a much, much bigger problem. So, doomsday yoga, interesting. Richard Faulkner, hello. Okay, lots of comments coming in here. Sorry, I have to kind of lean over here to be able to see them. Okay, Olg Swinkle says, what should we do about paranoid feelings? So, this is a really good question. One really important thing that I think we all need to remember is that stress is terrible for our immune system. And one of the best things we can all do right now is be trying to keep our immune system strong. That's our defenses. If we all imagined that we are at war, our body's own defenses, our immune system, are really, really important. So stress is terrible for your immune system. Losing sleep, terrible for your immune system. And those are things that are really difficult for us right now. It's not the same as 2 weeks ago when it was like, lower your stress levels. And it was actually something feasible. So what I recommend when you start feeling those paranoid feelings of anxiety and fear, which I think all of us are feeling right now, myself included, breathe deeply. When you take a deep breath, this is one of the best ways to signal to your nervous system, signal to your subconscious that there is no immediate threat. The whole purpose of the stress response and the surge of cortisol is to help you fight or flight, right? But most of us are not fighting and we're not flighting, right? So if we're constantly surging up that stress response, we're getting all of this cortisone, all of this adrenaline, and it has no output because most of us are sitting in our homes. So taking a deep breath is a really good way to start signaling to your nervous system that there is no immediate threat, immediate danger. Sometimes I will actually even hold my hand over my belly. When you take a really nice deep belly breath, you should feel your belly expand. So I've done this before. Pardon me for those of you who have seen this before, but shallow breathing when we're nervous is something like this. It's all in the chest, but your lung capacity goes down below your belly button. So a deep breath would look more like this. And I know you guys can't see all the way down to my belly, but the point is you don't have this just chest lift. You should actually feel the breath go down into your belly. This can sometimes be easier to feel if you're laying on your back. Feel your belly expand. Or if you want to breathe into the back body, you can lay on your belly and take deep breaths. And then not only will you start to feel your belly expanding underneath you, but you'll start to notice how much lung capacity you actually have even in the back body, right? So your lungs go all the way around and there's muscles all throughout this entire 360 degrees that help us breathe. So take a deep breath. Try laying on your back breathing or belly down breathing. I probably need to take one of those deep breaths right now. I know that it's not easy to calm ourselves down. We also have lots of guided meditations, stress relieving yoga. Now would be the time to do some of those meditations or do some kind of relaxing yoga or yin yoga that actually helps to kind of system override your stress levels and help you get back into that more relaxed state. Hope that's helpful. Talia B, how do you stay motivated? I mean, it sounds really heavy, but I think about the people who have not been as fortunate as myself. I count my blessings and how lucky I am to have access to healthy food, to have ability to move my body and try to take care of the health of my body. And really, it's thinking a lot about how grateful I am for those things that motivate me to want to do the things that will help me to keep those blessings, that will help me to preserve my health for as long as possible. And I think in these trying times, perhaps that is even more apparent as we see people all around us losing some of those just kind of basic things that we take for granted, our ability to just carry on in our daily lives in a pain-free way. Apsara Kunanga, I apologize for butchering your name. Apsara says, what will be the initial symptoms and how much does it take a healthy person to get recovered with? Okay, so 2 questions here. So initial symptoms, it appears like a cold or flu. And that's one of the reasons this is so scary, partly because a huge percentage of the people who are having these types of symptoms actually don't have the coronavirus. Maybe it's allergies, maybe it really is just the cold, or maybe it is just the regular flu. But the bottom line is that once you start feeling any symptoms of cold and flu, you should kind of treat it like it's coronavirus. And I say that because what would you do if you knew it was coronavirus? You would stay at home. You would limit your contact with people. You would immediately start to maybe even think about people that you've had contact with in the previous week, maybe contact them and urge them to pay attention to their own symptoms and maybe even try to quarantine themselves or prevent their potential spread of it. If we're all super proactive about this, then maybe we can prevent it from becoming as big of a problem as they've seen in other places. So cough, sneezing, one of the or some of the kind of symptoms that are more specific to coronavirus that you may not have with other types of cold and flu are shortness of breath. Any type of struggle to breathe, any type of pain while you're breathing, that is a big red flag that you should immediately seek out medical assistance or at least start considering limiting how much you expose other people to whatever it is you might have. Even if it was a regular cold or regular whatever, flu or something, you still don't want to be spreading that around, even if it's not the real coronavirus. There's lots of information out there, lots of lists online that you can find to determine more symptoms, but it seems like that shortness of breath or painful labored breathing seems to be kind of the linchpin that once somebody starts to exhibit that type of symptoms, they want to start getting them in for more questioning to see if they were potentially exposed to this virus. At least for now, it's looking in certain places like the community spread is limited. But again, I know a lot of you are watching all over the world, so I'm going to try to not make generalizations that are going to be location specific to any one place. All righty. Thank you all for being here. Lots of sweet comments from you guys. Thank you so much. Rachel Stewart, unable to find rubbing alcohol or hand sanitizer. Any suggestions for clean hands on the go? So there really is no substitute for thorough hand washing. When you wash your hands for a minimum of 20 seconds, I personally do a minimum of 40 seconds because I'm a little OCD like that. You're physically removing the bacteria and viruses and germs off of your hands and they flow down into the sink. So washing your hands is crucial when you can. If you are somewhere where there's literally no access to soap, no access to water whatsoever, I would, number one, encourage you to just consider that your hands are contaminated. Do whatever you can to prevent touching things that you're going to likely be touching later, like your cell phone, and things that you are touching that you'll likely be touching later. Sanitize them. If you don't have rubbing alcohol, you can use things like white vinegar, distilled vinegar. I don't believe it's as effective as rubbing alcohol, but it's at least a step in the right direction. Apple cider vinegar, I would imagine, would also have those similar, at least help in this department of starting to sanitize an area. Witch hazel is another recommendation that I saw as far as making your own hand sanitizers. But it really is that 91% rubbing alcohol that is going to help you meet the CDC requirements for a hand sanitizer. I have lots of rubber gloves. I would encourage people to maybe consider wearing rubber gloves when you're out in public, partly because it will prevent somewhat of you coming into contact with the virus, but mainly to remind you not to touch your face. One of the biggest fears here is that if we are touching a surface and then we rub our eye or, scratch our nose, touching your face at all is one of the best ways to immediately take a droplet from a surface and put it into one of your mucous membranes that can help that virus get into the body. So if you're wearing rubber gloves, it just kind of reminds you when you start to put your hand up to your face, wait, don't touch my face. Like I said, I was not intending for this to be a 100% coronavirus related chat. So I'm going to keep looking for some other questions here. You can also, if you look up homemade hand sanitizer recipes, there's tons of them online and different things and ideas that people have put forth that could be helpful to you. Grape seed extract is another thing that can be effective for killing germs. But again, that is something that may be more difficult to find depending on where you are. All right, so here we go. We got some people in the world still worried about getting a flat belly. All right, so Mac Aziz Biabani, still tweaking my light a little here. Okay, how much time should I work out daily to get a flat stomach? It feels weird talking about flat stomachs right now, but maybe it's good. Take our mind off of things, right? So the main thing you need to remember when we're talking about flat stomachs and things like that is that you can't really spot reduce fat off the body. So we can work muscle groups, and if you want to have defined abs, then working those muscles is really important. There's also this component that if you're working out to a significant level that you're getting into that cardiovascular zone, then you are also burning fat as you're toning. So you can get a lot more bang for your buck, so to speak, by doing cardio workouts or cardio toning workouts. As far as an amount of time every day, that is a really tough call. And it's really different for every person's body, or how much weight someone has to lose, what age they are, how active you are on a daily basis. Because when we're talking about fat accumulation on the body, this is something that we've been contributing to our entire lives. So if we want to now start reversing the pattern of the body holding fat in certain areas, we're going to need to put in significant amount of time. I would tell you, if you really want significant results on a speedy way, I would aim for something like 45 minutes per day of exercise. That's kind of a good general recommendation that they also give. So maybe half of that is cardio and half of that is more like weight work or toning type of workouts. I'm going to keep on moving on to questions here. We've got a lot of videos that people have made about belly fat and ab workouts, cardio workouts. And of course, a lot of that is here on the YouTube channel. We also have a great deal of things that are up on Amazon Prime Video. And actually, just this week, we launched, or we should say Amazon finally approved, a new 30-day program from everyone's favorite yoga teacher, Julia Marie. So it's called the 30-day Power Up, and it's kind of the next step after her first 30-day program. So it's a lot of working to advance our practice, advance our poses, and kind of getting into more of the yoga philosophy as well. So we have the 14-day Julia Marie Couch to Confident. Maybe this would be a good time to start your beginner's yoga program. We got lots of time on our hands, and moving your body will be really, really good for you, not only in helping keep your stress levels low and helping you feel less anxious, but there's also immune boosting benefits when we're doing activities like yoga. So the 14-day Couch to Confident, the 30-day Yoga for Weight Loss program, the 30-day Power Up Your Practice program. We have made all of the 30-day yoga programs free with Amazon Prime Video. I'm gesturing over here because it's up on this screen. Just to, if y'all are confused. So any of our 30-day programs, the Julia Jarvis 30-day, the Just Hemsit 30-day, those are all in the Amazon Prime Video section. If you go into Prime Video, you can search PsycheTruth and you'll see all of our listings come up, or you can put in 30-day yoga and you'll start to find those programs. Also, if you find that person's videos on the YouTube channel, oftentimes I will leave a link to their premium programs in the video description for you guys. And in addition to all the stuff we have on Prime Video, we also have an Amazon subscription, Wellness Plus, and you'll find even more videos and more programs in the subscription service. So lots of it is free with Prime. If you want even more PsycheTruth, then you can sign up for that Wellness Plus subscription as well. Okie dokie. Beth Davidson, I have a question. How can a person sleep better with anxiety? So I actually have a video I recently did about anxiety. I have another video that I'll be publishing soon related to stress reduction. I talked earlier about breathing deeply. Just this element of noticing our breath and noticing when we're like a little bit of stressful breathing. That stressful breathing sends messages to your nervous system that there is an immediate threat or danger. And this is one reason why it's kind of this, just increases on itself. So maybe the breathing starts to cause the anxiety, then the anxiety actually causes more of that shallow breathing, and it kind of is self-perpetuating, self-worsening. So one good way to override that anxiety response is to breathe deeply. And it does take some intention. That's one of the reasons that it's so effective, because the only time we really breathe like that is when we're intentionally doing so. And that's why it's such an effective way to communicate with our nervous system. So in yoga, they will actually separate the breath into 4 parts. And I think that 4-part breathing is a really great way to help get yourself to sleep. I have definitely fallen asleep a lot of times doing this. So essentially what you do is consider the first part of the breath as the inhale. Second part of the breath is holding the inhale for a few seconds. The third part of the breath is a slow exhale. The more you can extend your exhale nice and slow, has this really nice calming effect on the nervous system. And then the fourth part of the breath is holding that exhale before you inhale again. And when I do this, I say the words in my mind as I'm doing them. You can do this counting, but sometimes I feel like trying to count my breaths or make them certain numbers long makes me feel more anxious. So I'm going to not give that recommendation now. I'm just going to say that you could do something like inhale, feel your belly expand, hold, exhale, slowly out, hold, inhale, etc. And so you're kind of doing this 4-part breathing, feeling as much as you can to keep your focus and concentration on the breathing. And as those other worries and considerations start to come in and try to distract you, bring your attention back to your breath. That's really where the benefits of meditation start to come in, not while we actually are focused on our breath or on the thing we're doing, but when we become distracted and then bring our focus back to the breath. So 4-part breathing is really helpful. Covering all of the light from your eyes with either an eye mask or a scarf, a t-shirt, anything. Because only when you're in complete darkness does the brain start to secrete melatonin. We could think back to the primal human, right? The only time that they felt that it was safe to sleep was when it was completely dark outside and hopefully everything else is asleep. So the same kind of intrinsic thing is still instilled in us. And the only time the brain will release that melatonin and tell your body that it's time to sleep is when you're in complete darkness. And it's really hard now because we can be in light 24 hours a day. And a lot of us lay in bed with our cell phones, with this like kind of flashing light in our face, TVs in our face. Try to mitigate that as much as possible. Now more than ever, we've got to be trying to get some sleep. We've got to be trying to relax. And last thing I'll say about sleep, if you really can't sleep, sometimes I'll get up, do some jumping jacks, do some yoga in my room. You can hold a plank pose for as long as you can. But sometimes just getting myself into a state of muscular fatigue or getting my heart rate up, and then I lay back down and it has helped me fall asleep before. There are some people who that actually might not help, but that is something that I periodically will do. Definitely find myself doing stuff like that when I'm having trouble sleeping. Fan of all the cool stuff asks, what kind of questions can we ask? Preferably health, wellness, nutrition, stress, sleep, ASMR. But I know everyone is just thinking about coronavirus right now. So if you have a question on that, I will try to give you my best answer for it. However, I am not an expert on the coronavirus. Klepto Naiza has a great idea. Carry some soap and a bottle of water with you and just wash your hands while you're on the go. Soap works just as good. You just need water. So that's a great idea. Carrying some water with you, carrying some soap with you. Whoa. Okay, lots of questions just came in. Hold on here. Let me try to find where I was. I was wondering, I was like, man, there's not very many comments. But I think YouTube just can't handle them all. So it gives them to me in these like big chunks. So like there's no comments and then there's 300 comments. Okay. Skills SZN is asking how someone with slow metabolism fixes their slow metabolism. Metabolism is just a word that's kind of describing how quickly our body breaks down the things that we eat and starts using them or storing them as fat. People with a fast metabolism typically are considered to be able to eat whatever they want without gaining weight. But there's a lot of things that affect our metabolism. One of the biggest things is our daily physical activity. If you are somebody who is sedentary most of the time, that tells your body, hey, on a regular basis, guess what? You don't need any of this sugar. You don't need any of this energy. So in an effort to try to save you in a time of famine, what does your body do? It stores it here. It stores it here. It stores it here around the belly, right? So the whole reason that our bodies store fat is to try and save our lives. So if we want the body to release fat, we need to signal things to our bodies like, I need a certain amount of energy every day. I'm going to burn a certain amount of calories every day. So getting some physical activity is one of the best things you can do for your metabolism. And even though it may feel counterproductive, because if you start being active, you'll also likely find that you're eating more. But it's okay. And actually, even eating more can be a way to speed up your metabolism. So again, the whole reason that your body is holding on for dear life to that energy in the form of fat is that it's like, oh, I don't know when will be the next time I'm going to get food. So I better save this. I better hold on to it for dear life. So if you eat more regularly, eat breakfast, don't skip your breakfast. That's one of the best things you can do for your metabolism. It'll actually start signaling to your body that, hey, there's no famine. There's no crisis. There's no reason that you need to hold on to all of this extra fat because I will be eating on a regular basis. Your body loves when you can give it some kind of schedule or just give it some kind of comfort of knowing that another meal is coming in this amount of time. So get more activity and actually try to eat more food, eat on a schedule. Don't skip breakfast. Tea party, what hair products do you use? I really just use like a natural conditioner. The one I have right now is by Shea Moisture, and I just use it as a leave-in in my hair, and that's all I put in it. I never use heat. I never use hair color. I think that's a really big reason that it's pretty healthy. I actually just got a haircut maybe 2 weeks ago. So that helps too. Glad to see questions about hair in a time like this. I'll just be honest. God Botherer says, "Hi, Corrina. I know people are freaking out about coronavirus, but too many people live a life out of McDonald's and indoor air-conditioned Netflix comfort. Is eating right and vitamins the way?" I mean, yes, definitely. If there was ever a time to take some of my nutrition advice, now would be the time. In a situation where our stress levels are increased and most of us are understandably more worried, more stressed, and more anxious, the more that we can infuse our bodies with healthy things that help it to do its job better. And that's the whole point of eating healthy. Sometimes I got this question the other day, why does nutrition even matter? And I was like, well, you know that saying we are what we eat, or you are what you eat? It's actually pretty true. Like the things that you put in your body become the building blocks that your cells use to make you, right? So eating healthy foods, eating fruits and vegetables, these are all really, really important things. And I know that now more than ever, it's difficult to find those things. And it's difficult to find produce. A lot of us are hopefully avoiding going out in public altogether. I wanted to show you guys these. This is something I recently discovered. It's these little powdered fruit and vegetable packets. Literally all they have in them is fruits and vegetables. There is nothing else added, no preservatives, no sugar, no BS. 4 servings of fruits and vegetables in each packet. I hopefully am not, so this is by Ruvi is the name, thrivelife.com, I believe is the website. But this would be a great way to add some nutrients into your diet. All you need is some liquid or water to add them to. So I'm loading up with these. Stuff like this is really good. Green vitamins, green juice powders, any kind of like meal supplement that has a lot of vegetables in it is a really good idea. Before I got started here today, I made an order on youngliving.com of some different household item products that I realized I needed and I'm not going out to the store to get. And I also got a couple of like meal replacement, protein powder, multi-green supplement types of things so that I can try to be adding more nutrients into my body, even though I'm not going to probably be eating as much fresh produce. However, just recommend that you guys do whatever you can. If multivitamins are the only way you think you have access to more nutrients, then go for it. Anything is going to be a benefit for us at this time. Mac Aziz Biabani asks a workout for increased immunity. So I want to start by saying that I think almost any kind of physical activity, walking around the block, jogging in place in your room, holding a plank pose on the floor, talk about simple. Any type of physical movement is going to be beneficial because we start to release some of that stress that I was talking about earlier. So we're all super stressed out and our body has all this extra cortisol and extra adrenaline. So any type of physical activity will be a good way to diffuse some of that anxiety and let out some of that stress hormone. With that said, I would recommend that we maybe rein it in a little bit from how intense our workouts are. This is not a time that we need to be pushing ourselves to the absolute max. Remember that exercise, if you are doing a very, very intense exercise, actually is creating more stress on the body. So it's really a good idea to find some balance between getting some movement, getting your heart rate up, getting a good little workout in, but don't push yourself to your absolute max. And if you're somebody who's usually working out so much that you're sore for several days and you're just really going intensely, pull it back a little bit, put a little bit less stress on the body. I filmed a video last week called Yoga to Boost Your Immunity because we've kind of gone down to a skeleton crew. I'm not sure how long it'll take for that to come out, but as soon as that's ready, I will be publishing it, Yoga for Immunity. I know that on the YouTube channel, we do have some videos that we've made over the years related to immunity and immune system. So if you go to our channel, let me just see if I can find one real quick. I have also made a variety of videos over the years about tips to boost the immune system and stuff like that. So we do have a good amount of content on this. One of the things that Sheena showed in her video, I can show y'all here. So it's just what they call open and closing the windows, and it's supportive for the thymus, I believe. I should have hopefully remembered that. But anyways, it's just this. And then you want to do it the same number of times with the arms crossed in a different way. So then I'll switch the crossing of my arms. That was difficult. And do it again. So I've been doing these. She also said that folds and inversions are very effective for boosting immunity. So forward fold, child's pose, and then any type of inversion. So downward dog counts as an inversion. Legs up the wall, where you just lay on your back and lift your legs in the air. And it's helpful if you do it up against a wall so that your legs can relax against the wall. That's a good inversion. Any type of, I think, yoga class would be a good thing to do. Let's see if I put in immunity. Immune. Let's see. So yeah, I've got a good amount of nutrition videos on this. There's immune boosting reflexology. Reflexology is a type of foot massage. So this is reflexology you can do on yourself to boost your immune system. That would be a great recommendation that I would give to you guys. Cold and flu remedies. That's an old video. So yeah, aside from that yoga boosting or immune boosting yoga that will be coming out soon, I'm not sure how many of the videos specifically are related to immunity, but do the 14-day Julia Marie Couch to Confident yoga. That would be a great thing to do. And that's such a nice, well-balanced yoga program that you are sure to get a lot of those folds, a lot of those inversions that help to support your immunity. A lot of our immune system function actually comes from our GI tract, from our gut. So any type of twist that you're doing, yoga twists, so when you lay on your back and take a spinal twist, anything that's kind of massaging the internal organs will also be effective for boosting immunity by kind of stimulating that healthy GI tract. They are socks on the floor behind me. I'm not actually in my house right now. I'm in my boss's house. So that is his sock, I believe, that's over there right now. Oh, Sophie moved. But that's her spot right behind me there on the couch. She was sitting there a minute ago, but I don't know where she went. Okay. To be strong sometimes. I'm in Italy right now. Sorry for the bad English. Can you say my name? Giuseppe. Giuseppe, thank you for watching. I'm sending you all of my prayers right now. I know that Italy has been hit so hard by this, and I'm praying for you guys. I really hope that it's already hit its peak and is hopefully on its way out. There do not need to be any more people taken by this horrible virus. Love Nature is asking about making your own hand sanitizer. Yes, this was something that I was Googling last week. There are several different recipes out there for making your own hand sanitizer using things like aloe vera gel. And they recommend using 91% rubbing alcohol If you want to have what they call a 60% concentration, which the CDC is recommending for hand sanitizers. So 91% rubbing alcohol plus aloe vera gel is one of the recipes I saw. I also saw things with distilled vinegar, white vinegar, witch hazel. There was somebody who was using coconut oil as the base. However, myself personally, I'm using soap as much as I can. I do have a hand sanitizer carrying with me in my purse. And then I've just been rubbing coconut oil on my hands at night because they are definitely getting dry from all the hand washing. But there are a lot of different recipes for hand sanitizer that I stumbled upon while I was looking. Bob Caterpillar, I live in Australia. My school hasn't legally closed. My parents want time to stay at home, but I still have majority of my exams. What should I do? That is a really tough call. There is a chance that you can speak to your teachers about maybe even taking your exams at home. I know if I was a teacher, I would be more than happy to let my students do that, especially if you could do it in conjunction with the parents, so that maybe hopefully the parents are overseeing the student and making sure that they're following the testing protocols. However, just in general, I think that, it's probably a matter of time until they close the schools. I know here in Austin, all the schools are now closed, all the bars, all the restaurants, pretty much everything is closed. I think that by the time we come out on the other end of this, hopefully a few weeks from now, maybe a few months from now, we really don't know. A lot of that is contingent upon how vigilant we are now. So I would recommend that you stay home and maybe speak to your teachers, tell them that you are not comfortable being there, you're scared of being there, your parents don't want you in school. I would think that the safety and health and livelihood of people is just much more important than taking our tests in time, taking this. Even if you had to retake the semester you're in or something like that, that would be not nearly as bad as potentially coming down with this virus and not being able to kick it, or giving it to someone else who you love who isn't able to kick it. That's really just a personal opinion I'm sharing with you. I'm not fully aware of the situation in Australia right now in terms of the spread, in terms of the potential for contamination. But if your parents are worried, I would think you could have them call the school, talk to the school. And I just encourage everyone, put your health first. Put your health before money, before school, before job, before whatever. Because if we all start getting sick and we fill up the hospitals, then all of those other things are going to suddenly not matter anymore. So prioritize your health and your family's health above all else. That is my number one recommendation. Chillberry, you have millions of people at home and not at work. Remember, we need to work a hard day so that we can sleep at night. That's a really important little thought there being shared. So yes, the more that we are just sitting at home, not doing anything, not moving around, limited activity, that's actually really, really bad for our health. Partly because it does make it harder to sleep. Definitely, once we've worked a really long, hard day, it's much easier to fall asleep. So maybe these are encouragements to do things at home that stimulate the mind. Maybe it's reading a book. Maybe it's doing some kind of puzzle game if you're more of a game type of person. But if you can get some kind of mental stimulation and engagement, that might actually help you sleep better at night. And then consider doing some kind of physical activity, starting one of our yoga programs, or we have so many fitness videos, fitness programs, Monica Landois Dance Fit. There's a lot of videos now up both on Amazon Prime and on the Wellness Plus subscription. Dance workouts would be a great thing to do right now because it's going to get you laughing, it's going to get you having fun, and it's going to get you moving your body. And I would say those are 3 really, really good things to be doing for ourselves at this time. No, I'm not psychic. PsycheTruth was actually named because of psychology. The idea was to be a positive psychology channel, telling the truth about psychology and giving people ways to elevate their well-being. I know it sounds like psychic truth, but it's not. It's just related to positive psychology. Sorry if it was confusing. We have nothing related to psychics on our channel whatsoever. Hi, Sara. Thank you for jumping in on the chat. And yes, we will be leaving the live chat up as a video on the channel after we are complete here. So I also think I'm going to be doing live chats maybe every single day. We'll just have to see how it goes. And I'll also be doing live chats on our other channel as well, on the ASMR channel. I just think it's really important for us to all remember how it feels to be connected with one another. It's really difficult for us as human beings to be isolated. So I think it's really important in this time, anytime really, but especially now that we're all being encouraged to quarantine at home, that we just have a place where we can all kind of come together and chat, and hopefully this whole thing is able to be uplifting for you. Chandler Rose is not here. Chandler Rose is actually not even in the state of Texas right now. I don't know when the coronavirus will end. I will reiterate what I've said a few times already, which is that the more vigilant we are now, the faster this will all be over. The more that people have thoughts like, oh, it's not that bad. Oh, I just have a cold. Oh, it's nothing. The more this will persist and blow out of proportion. If all of us can hunker down, stay home, avoid, treat yourself like you're carrying coronavirus and try to limit your contact with people. If we can be super, super proactive now, maybe even overreacting. I watched a video this morning that they had taken people in Italy and said, if you could record a message for yourself 10 days ago, what would you say to yourself 10 days ago? And they were all saying things like, you think that it's overreaction, but you need to do those things. Maybe you're making fun of people for wearing masks, but stop making fun of them and start wearing one yourself. The more that we can take this seriously, and maybe even take it too seriously, that will actually be the most helpful thing that we can do to just keep this slower. And the more time that we can buy before this blows up in whatever city we're in, the more time we can just draw it out and hopefully slow the onset of coronavirus cases, the more time that gives them to prepare. The more potential there is that they develop vaccines, that they develop treatments. So everything that we do now, even if it feels like we're overreacting, even if it feels like whatever it is, excuse you're making in your head that you want to not do these things yet, I really think that we are in control right now, and it is up to us how long this whole thing lasts. If we're vigilant, if we're cautious, if we do our best to quarantine and even treat ourselves like we're carrying this virus, even if we feel perfectly fine, we can stop the spread dead in its tracks and hopefully nip it in the bud before too many more people are infected with this virus. Health Aware says garlic by the ton. Yes, garlic is a very immune boosting substance. Babak B is just saying, let's call this by its real name, COVID-19. There are multiple coronaviruses. Some of them cause the common cold. So yes, I don't want to spend too long on this because I really think in the grand scheme of things, the names are not as important as us all just being really vigilant. But just to be specific, yes, coronavirus is a kind of broader group of viruses. There are a lot of different viruses that kind of fall under this big umbrella of coronavirus. This particular coronavirus causes a condition known as COVID-19. So the disease state, once the virus takes us over, is COVID-19. But to be just more all-encompassing for everyone who's kind of hearing this term coronavirus, I'm just kind of using that because I think for all intensive purposes, people consider that as referring to this one coronavirus we're talking to right now. A couple months from now or whatever, when we come out on the other end of this, then we can be a little bit more precise with the semantics, the terminologies. But for right now, pardon if I'm misspeaking by using a general term like coronavirus. Hopefully, it conveys what it needs to convey in this particular setting. Thank you for the smile, DSC. I've also got a fever, but I was told the only cure was more cowbell. Ah, more cowbell, more cowbell. Great. Giuseppe. See, you've left your comment a couple times. I did shout you out a minute ago, but hello, Giuseppe. Thank you for joining. Please know that my prayers are going out to you and everyone else in Italy right now. It's very, very scary stuff we are facing here. Mallory said y'all need some mods in the chat. Cool. If you know of anybody, let me know. My friend Amanda oftentimes is able to help me out modifying. I actually haven't seen her in here yet, but this was really just an off-the-cuff chat. We did not plan it out. We did not give anybody a heads up, so I apologize. We really don't have any moderators or anything like that. And our staff is working from home or temporarily not working at all, depending. But we were able to retain most of our staff. We're hoping this blows over really quick and we're able to just go back to things as usual as soon as possible. But unfortunately, normally I have a person moderating, like sitting in the next room, and it's just not workable right now. Sean Aylward, it's safe to say you're the most relaxed person on the planet, correct? I don't know. That's an interesting question. Not at the moment. Okay. Nate's life. I've been watching PsycheTruth since it started. How have you not aged a day? That's really sweet of you. It's called a beauty dish. um, I definitely am aging. Definitely am aging. Jing Wu, does face mask really not help? Face, I've read a lot of different things. It definitely seems like it's not a guarantee. This is such a contagious virus, a tiny little virus, that unless you have a mask that completely seals around the face, you're not protected. I do think masks are helpful. I think that people who are affected with coronavirus should definitely be wearing masks. And really, they just shouldn't be going out in public at all, in my opinion. Healthcare providers, people who are helping people with coronavirus, definitely need to be wearing protective gear. And I think that trying to keep the medical staff with access to those things is really important. So for us as just regular people, if we are stocking up on tons of masks and stocking up on tons of equipment, a lot of times we're just taking that away from people who are actually on the front lines and really, really need it. So, if you do have to go out and be in public, they recommend that you wear goggles because it can transmit through the eye. They recommend that you wear that N95 masks, but even that N95 is only 95% effective. So the best thing you can do is stay home. Do not come into contact with people. Do not go into public situations. And if you are in a public situation, do your best to not touch anything. I said earlier that if you go in a public place, you might even want to wear rubber gloves. Not that that's going to necessarily protect you completely from coming into contact with it, but it helps remind you to not touch your face when you're wearing gloves. It'll just kind of be that reminder to not rub your nose or rub your eye or, put direct contact between your hand and one of those open mucous membranes where the virus is very, very easy to transmit. Antonio Q, how can I clean my smartphone? I've just been using 91% rubbing alcohol on a paper towel and just for, probably 30 seconds to a minute, just kind of rub the phone in the paper towel with 91% rubbing alcohol. Okay. Does a full house, I have low white blood cells. So, if you have any kind of immune system condition, then that does what they call put you at high risk for this. So, any type of immune-related condition or autoimmune condition. A few years ago, my mom had her spleen removed. Over the last couple of months, she was receiving breast cancer treatments. So all of those things make her a high-risk patient. Or potential patient. Thankfully, right now she is not ill. But things like that. I'm trying to remember the full list that they gave that I heard this morning, but it was any type of immune system condition puts you at high risk. They're now saying that hypertension and certain blood pressure medications can increase the number of receptor sites that you have and potentially make you at higher risk. Anybody who's received cancer treatment in the last year also should be considering themselves at high risk and doing their best to self-isolate as much as possible. Do prior immunizations help fight the virus? I actually do not know. Green Whiskey 7. I do not think that the previous regular flu vaccine will have any effect on this particular virus. The function of a vaccine is very specific. So it's not like you can get a general vaccine to keep you from all the flu viruses. So I do believe they're working on vaccines right now. They said that the first stages of vaccine testing, at least here in the States, is now underway. But I don't think that any prior immunizations will be doing you any favors here. God Botherer says, but I wear reading glasses. I have to touch my face to adjust my glasses. I would encourage you to be extremely careful. If you have tissues or something with you, maybe you can just, put a tissue over your hand before you touch your glasses or something like that. If you're doing the rubber gloves idea, then you just remove those gloves before you touch your glasses. There are lots of different ways that we can be vigilant. This is not a situation where we need to, think of excuses for reasons that we can't do these recommendations we've been given. We need to find a way that we can do them, not find reasons that doesn't work for us or it's not convenient for us. Every single person is being inconvenienced by this. And I would argue that inconvenience is the least harmful possible thing that could happen to us, right? Clint Patak says, this is common sense, but for some reason, for a lot of people, common sense isn't so common. There is certainly a good amount of these different recommendations that we've been hearing from World Health Organization, CDC, our own governments. And yeah, sometimes it seems a little common sense. But I would just say that a lot of times, even things that seem commonsensical to us, it's actually helpful to hear someone say it to you. There's also this aspect that as we become in a heightened state of stress and anxiety, it becomes more difficult to think clearly. Think about any stressful situation you've ever been in, and all of us have been in at least one, I would imagine. It just kind of prevents you from thinking as clearly. So in a time where there's all of these recommendations that are really important, try not to feel, aggravated that some of it's common sense or whatever. Whether there's people out there who maybe didn't think of that thing before or not, it's helpful for us to hear these things over and over again. It's helpful for our children. I don't have children, but it's helpful for children to hear them, and for people to just constantly be reminded of those things. It is difficult to think clearly when we're in a state of stress. So I think that's one reason why they keep repeating a lot of these different pieces of advice, even though they feel like they should be commonsensical. There is no harm in repeating something, even if it's common sense. Doesn't hurt a single thing. All right, guys, I'm looking for questions. All right, looks like I do have a moderator in here helping me now. Thank you. Nasurdur. What is the best, healthiest water you think or drink? Purified water, spring water, alkaline, or filtered tap? So the quality of your tap water, depending on where a person lives, greatly varies. But I do think that purified or, filtered tap water is a really, is probably one of the best things that we can do. It's the thing that I drink most often, just purified tap water. I have an Air Water Life water filter. With that said, so you gave me purified spring, alkaline, or filtered tap. Spring water is great. If you have access to spring water, that would be a wonderful, wonderful thing to be drinking. I did a video a few years ago on alkaline water. There's still a lot of information out there around it. I personally tend to find that I'm just drinking regular purified water most often. So I think, investing in a water purifier is a really good thing to do. I do feel like the alkaline filters, depending on, really depends on the person and what their goals are, what their budget is. There's a lot of different considerations around that. It's really hard to give, one single recommendation that would, necessarily be correct for everyone. Green whiskey. What is your opinion on drinking water from copper vessels? So I was watching something this morning and they were showing that it appears that copper will neutralize the coronavirus. However, they did say that it's not completely conclusive yet. So I would not consider that a copper water bottle is necessarily killing coronavirus if you believe you came into contact with it. But I do think copper is, probably a good material for your water bottle to be made out of. In addition to stainless steel, main thing is just avoiding drinking out of plastic as much as possible. Rachel K says, what about telling people to eat a lot of fermented foods to help the immune system via good gut health, and staying away from white gut clogging flours that produce an unhealthy immune system? So yeah, that's a great recommendation. So basically what she's saying is eating fermented foods. So just a minute ago, we were listening to something that said that sauerkraut, which is a fermented food, is one of the highest sources of vitamin C, which we know is really important for our immune system. So yeah, fermented foods, fermented tea like kombucha. Other common fermented foods would be things like yogurt. However, most of the commercial yogurts are going to have so much added sugar and added other stuff. It kind of takes away from the health benefits. But there are a lot of other yogurt products out there that will retain a lot of those health benefits. And then you could add your own sweetness or honey or strawberry jelly or something like that to make it taste like one of those more sweeter flavored ones. And then, yeah, probably some good thing to avoid are gut clogging white flours. So that enriched white flour, basically the white flour that's used in almost everything we buy. I will say in this particular time, where we're all just kind of struggling to have enough food around at all, finding anything to eat. If you can, opt for whole wheat flours. Opt for brown rice instead of white rice. Opt for quinoa as a great example, as an alternative to white bread. The white flour is not great for us. It's terrible for us when we're talking about weight loss, but it's also terrible for us when we're talking about our immune system. And because there's a certain consideration or considered to be a link between things like diabetes and receptibility to coronavirus, that avoiding white flour is also a really good idea for anyone with diabetes out there, because that white flour is gives that big blood sugar spike, which is something we really want to try to avoid, especially now. It's very stressful on our systems. There's the more cowbell thing again. Clint Patak, how's Donnie? Will she ever be back to make a video? Man, Donnie, that was like 6 years ago, 7 years ago. She left to go off to graduate school, and I actually have not heard from her. I'm not sure if she will ever come back on our channel. She was a little bit nonplussed about the comments she was getting on her video. So, not to turn it back around and blame it on YouTube itself. But yeah, we've lost a lot of presenters over the years just because they didn't like their comments on the videos. And I always try to tell them, like, hey, most of the comments are really nice. There's lots of trolls out there that leave mean comments just to try and upset people. But yeah, there's not really anything I can do to force someone to come back on the channel if they're not wanting to. Know what I'm saying? Joshua Benjamin. Odd as it is, no drunk is catching coronavirus. Alcohol is like chemo for the bloodstream without the radiation. You know what? I saw something about that earlier about, like, is alcohol good for killing coronavirus? I actually do not know. I have not heard that. I do not think that drinking alcohol is a recommendation that we should be doing right now. Even if alcohol does, kill the virus or whatever, it's so terrible for you. It's so terrible for your health. It's like, why would you want to destroy your health to try and prevent from getting this virus? I don't know. This is scary. So yeah, there's a bunch of comments that just came in. Amanda, you're here. Oh, I'm so glad. Hi, Amanda. It's really good to see you. Thank you for coming into the chat. Sending lots of love to you. Lots of big hugs. All righty. So where was I? Goodness gracious. What can I do for a relative that has a weak immune system? Protect them from exposure. Even if that means protecting them from yourself. And I'm kind of in this situation right now too, because I know the best thing for my mom would just be for her to be 100% completely secluded in her house. And I even feel like I am putting her in danger for me going over there. Not that I've really been out in public very much, but I've had more contact with other people than she has since they started hunkering down a couple days ago. A person with a weak immune system is not only more likely to get the virus, is more likely to kind of move into that danger zone where you start having the labored breathing, painful breathing. And that is kind of the first sign that the virus is worsening and you need to seek medical attention. So impress upon that person that they should be secluding themselves. Do your best to seclude that person. And if you are going to be around that person, then do what you can to prevent potentially spreading it to them. And I said this a couple times, if we all just kind of treat ourselves like we're already carrying it and we're super cautious about trying to not give it to someone, then we can by that level of proactivity, hopefully nip this in the bud a lot sooner. Now, hopefully most of us actually aren't carrying it. We don't have it. We're completely fine. But if we're kind of behaving as if we do have it, then we can prevent spreading it without knowing it. Todd Van Winkle, are you still getting all those massages? You know, we aren't filming as much massage anymore because it doesn't do very well in terms of helping us survive as a business and trying to keep doing what we're doing. More often than not now, I am actually the massage therapist, sharing things with other people, working on other people, doing ASMR on other people. So yeah, it's been a hot minute since I have gotten a massage. It's been quite a while. But maybe if things ever go back to normal, we'll get back into our regular massage therapy production. Ethiopian phenomenon. Corrina, do you own this channel? What happened to the conspiracy theorists that you used to invite on your show? So no, I do not own this channel. This channel was started by a gentleman named Mike, and he hired me as his assistant, I don't know, almost 10 years ago. And so I've been working for him full time. A lot of times I'm in front of the camera. Even more of the time I'm behind the camera filming all of the other content that you see on the channel. I film all of it. And we had to delete all of the Colin Ross videos, the quote unquote conspiracy theorists that you're referring to. Although I do not think that, and we were very careful to make sure that all of the things that we were having him talk about in the videos were things that he was sure about. So we were not trying to share conspiracy theories. He was just sharing his actual knowledge of things that he discovered through Freedom of Information reports and things like that, where you can actually request literature from the Library of Congress, and he read thousands and thousands of pages about the CIA mind control experiments from, just back in the day, 70s. Anyway, point being, we had to remove all of those videos from YouTube a few years ago when they started cracking down on their advertiser-friendly content guidelines. We do still have all of the Colin Ross videos up on wellnessplus.tv. So if you want to join our subscription service, you can unlock all of those videos that used to be there. But YouTube made it really, really difficult for people to continue sharing information that YouTube didn't like. So we have largely shifted our topics that we address on the channel, trying to stay in the good graces of YouTube as much as possible. There you go. Free speech. Thank you. Joni75, Corrina, will you still be making ASMR videos? A scalp check video would be great right about now to reduce stress. So yes, I am planning to still come here and make ASMR videos. However, I am feeling largely like for my own health and safety, I kind of want to stop. So I'm in a really difficult position because I want to make videos for you guys. I want to help you guys, but I also am feeling like I'm potentially putting myself into a dangerous situation because I don't make the ASMR videos in my own home. I come here where I am now to Mike's house to film them. So we have discussed that we're going to try to keep filming videos. We probably will not be using models because I'm horrified to be in a room with someone. But I can still do solo videos, and I maybe, depending on how quiet it is at my house, I may be able to set something up in my own home making ASMR videos. That would be fantastic. However, the whole thing with ASMR is you need a place that's really quiet with not a lot of dogs and not a lot of airplanes. And that's like where I live. So I don't think I will be able to get immaculate quality of ASMR videos from my own home. But I will be trying to produce them. I will definitely be still coming here sometimes. We're actually going to shoot tonight. We have somebody coming over to do some videos tonight. And hopefully they don't have the coronavirus. Know what I'm saying? I'll also be doing some live chats on the ASMR channel for you guys as well. So I know that now more than ever is very important that we try to have things that can help us calm down and relax and get some sleep. So I want to do my best to keep making videos for you guys.